And hello and a sunny good morning to all of our friends listening in throughout the Sunshine State or wherever you may be located. This is your host, Gary Owen.
And I'm your co-host, Tom Bouvier, bringing you
the Quality of Life Radio Show. Folks, we're here in the studio, WSTU in beautiful downtown Stuart, Florida. We're also streaming live, WSTUtv.com if you want to see our handsome mugs. And also airing live on WPSL 1590 AM and WSTU 1450 AM, as well as via TuneIn on Alexa. And by the way, we want to give a shout out to Cigna Medicare for sponsoring the show. We appreciate that collaboration. Tom, it's been nearly a decade already. It's unbelievable. A decade since the Quality of Life Radio Show has aired, and we're super excited to get back on the air and bringing relevant content to our listeners and provide education and information that will help improve their quality of life. Tom, it's great to have you as our co-host, and I think we're going to have a little bit of fun.
I think I need to correct something there, Gary. Uh-oh. We're going to have a whole lot of fun.
From right? A little to a whole lot.
Right. Laissez les bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll.
Absolutely.
And Gary, I'm excited about this Quality of Life radio show. I know I wasn't even born 10 years ago, so I missed it when you had your show. But you've got a lot of content. You've got a lot of experience. You've been on the Treasure Coast here in this area for decades. And we've got great guests that are lined up. We're going to talk about great different local events, what we love about the area. We're just going to have a lot of fun and hopefully bring value to the people that are listening.
So, a lot of value. In fact, our show is going to have 3 segments. The first 15 minutes of the show will feature a special guest, and I'm excited to, in a moment, bring you our guest on here shortly, and also local business owners. So if you're a local business out there on the Treasure Coast listening in, contact myself, contact our office, and we'll get you slated on the show so we can promote you and your business, because I'm a firm believer in doing business with a local business. The second segment of our show would be about interesting facts and figures. I'll spend about 6 minutes in sharing with you some of that information. And Tom's going to share with you what you love best about what?
Living on the Treasure Coast.
Oh, my God. The best living in the country right here on the Treasure Coast, Tommy. And then lastly, we'll share with you our knowledge and candor about the important insurance solutions that will enhance and improve, guess what? Your quality of life. The pitfalls to avoid, the good, the bad, the ugly of insurance, transparency, and just good old-fashioned simplicity. Because it's our mission, Tom, to do what?
Simplify insurance planning so you can enjoy the stress-free life that you deserve.
I love it. Well, folks, we're going to take a moment here and get ready for our guest. We're honored to introduce to you the very first guest of our inaugural show, the Quality of Life Radio Show, and that is Dwayne Mcferrin, CLU, CFP, RHU, CLTC, LLIF, and I'm not sure how many other alphabet letters he has, but behind his name. But we're excited to have Dwayne and share some information that he has for us this morning, all the way from beautiful Omaha, Nebraska. Dwayne, good morning, sir.
Good morning, and thank you, Gary. Thank you, Tom, for having me this morning.
Absolutely great to have you, Dwayne. And listen, folks, Dwayne and I are both members of the National Association of Health Underwriters. I am the president of Owen Insurance Group, so being an FMO and a local agency, it's important that insurance advisors, health insurance and life insurance advisors, belong to an association that gives back and supports our group. So Dwayne is very heavily involved, and we spent time at the Capitol Conference in Washington, D.C., in bringing concerns of our consumers to the legislative component there in Washington, D.C. So, Dwayne, I know you've got some great information to share with us, so it's all yours, my friend.
All right. Well, very good. Thank you, Gary. You know, as a member of the National Association of Health Underwriters, which is an organization representing roughly 100,000 insurance agents around the country, it's the agents that are looking out after you, the client, your welfare, what's good for you, what's good for the industry. And one of the things that's happening right now that you should be aware of on Capitol Hill would be a heavy focus on prescription drugs. And if at all possible, if there's a way for two sides of the political aisle to come together, it may be combating the high cost of prescription drug prices. Well, just recently, a series of executive orders was put out by President Trump. One had to do with rebating and anti-kickback. So if you think about prescription drugs, there's a supply chain, right? There's a manufacturer, there's a pharmacy benefit manager, there's a distribution to a retailer, there's the actual retailer. That supply chain, there are some rebates that go back and forth that don't go to you, but rather they go to other members of that supply chain. And so the president's order is really to try to eliminate those types of rebates that have a tendency to drive up the cost of prescription drugs. And if there is a rebate, perhaps it should go to the consumer that goes off of maintenance drugs because they've gotten healthier and they're able to actually go off the drugs. To me, that would be who should be getting a rebate if there is one. But there are also executive orders about importation of drugs, say from Canada or Mexico. Perhaps it's insulin and diabetes. And we see now that there's a cap being put at $35 on insulin, which is very good news for seniors. And of course, the senior population is where the most drugs are consumed here in America. Then there's also a price index for when you do get drugs administered, perhaps in a doctor's office, or just making sure that the essential drugs that we have that keep us healthy as a nation are actually manufactured in the United States. And this pandemic has certainly pointed out when you're dependent on another country, it could have an impact on whether we live or die. But also there's other things that are happening within our industry. The access to care. There's so many folks that are concerned about, should I go to the doctor and sit in a waiting room? Maybe I'll just wait until this whole thing passes. And sure enough, in the second quarter, the utilization of healthcare dropped dramatically across the country. Many people stayed at home. Many offices were closed. Non-essential procedures were delayed. And so there was a huge drop in the utilization of healthcare around the country. But I would encourage you to utilize telehealth. Ask your doctor, ask your provider if they participate in a telehealth program. Ask the insurance company that you have your coverage with, is telehealth an option? And just with your phone, you can have an interview with a doctor or a nurse. They can see what ails you, and perhaps you won't have to go in to the office at all. But there has been, I think I saw just one service saw a 6,000% increase in utilization of telehealth today or this month versus last year. So it is a growing trend. I think it's here to stay that you use your phone to contact your doctor before going in, and telehealth could save you from traffic, from long distances, from sitting in a waiting room. And if the doctor feels like you really need to come in, they'll tell you that you need to come in. Another thing I would point out is how primary care is being delivered is dramatically changing, not just in Florida, but around the country. There are so many innovative methods on primary care. Some of the leading organizations might be Iora Health, Oak Street Health. Down in Miami, I know the Leon Clinic has been a leader. There are a number of innovations that are happening to where you're not sitting in that waiting room. We're not having a big desk in near the waiting room full of paper files, and then you go in and see the doctor for only 5 or 6 minutes and then you're out, but yet it took you 3 or 4 hours to do that. There are some amazing changes to where the health plan will help you even get to the office, get you there and get you home, and have a health coach that will follow up to make sure that everything is being done. So the innovations in healthcare really being led by Medicare Advantage plans is dramatic. Also wearables. Ask your doctor, can we monitor my health with wearables? That is becoming increasingly used, especially in combination with telehealth, to where you have a device on your body that can keep track, say, of your blood sugar. So I'd encourage you to ask if those things are available, and you may not have to go out in order to have a doctor's appointment. You may be able to do it in the comfort in your own home. And also another change that's happening is how consumers buy. You think during this pandemic, this close down of our economy, many people were having boxes delivered to their home instead of going out shopping. Well, that's changing as well in how people are buying insurance. And so Gary's office can help you, but there are many ways for you to purchase insurance today that weren't available just a few years ago, including buying it online. But you know what? When you buy online, if you don't have the advice of a good, solid agent, then what good is that? So there are opportunities to get the good advice from a licensed insurance agent and broker, and yet at the same time the convenience of enrolling through whatever method would be appropriate to you, whether it's through the phone, online, or some other method. But insurance carriers are making it easier than ever before for you to make a selection of a healthcare plan. And with this upcoming annual election period, I'm sure many will be saying, maybe I'll just hold on to my plan. I know maybe there's changes to it, but maybe I just won't do anything this year. I tell you what, it really does pay to shop around. There could be changes in your provider network, your copays, your premiums, perhaps just the drugs that are being covered. It really does pay to shop around. And insurance carriers are making it easier to enroll in a plan than ever before, not requiring you to have a computer, internet, or email. So ask your agent, ask Gary's office, are there alternative ways for me to enroll without necessarily someone coming into my home? You'll be surprised, but the answer is yes. And then the other thing, I serve on the mental health task force for the National Association of Underwriters. And one of the biggest concerns we have right now would be just the loneliness of being isolated. I know my mother-in-law, recently we took her out of a nursing home and brought her home to live with us. She's 91. But when you're in a nursing facility and they go into lockdown, you don't leave your room. They bring the food to your room. And that created some real loneliness for many people that are in facilities. And I think we may see a trend with how do I access my loved one if they are in a facility? And we began doing daily FaceTime or Facebook Messenger calls with the family while she was in the nursing home before we were able to take her out. But, that trend has continued. We continue to have Facebook Messenger or live video conferencing with my wife, her brother, her sister, along with my wife's mother, just so that family comes closer together. So perhaps one of the benefits of this pandemic will be perhaps families will be closer together than ever before. But dealing with loneliness is a big issue with the senior population, and there are a lot of health plans that are beginning to address that too. So if you feel that's you and you're interested in a Medicare Advantage plan, you may want to ask your agent about programs that would be available. And you know what? Sometimes just a pet can bring a smile. But the loneliness issue is something that's there. Caution fatigue. I don't know about you, but I am sick and tired of always being afraid. I still wear a mask, but I see many people, I think they're just tired of being cautious. But this is the time, and of course, we saw Florida recently started to spike with COVID, is wear those masks, stay healthy. What can we do as consumers, as individuals, to not contribute to the problem, but to solve the problem? So those are some of the things I wanted to share today. Gary, do you have questions for me?
That's phenomenal, actually. And we're going to touch base on the second segment of our show after the break, just sharing some interesting facts and figures on COVID. And I know that everybody across the country is tired of hearing that C word because certainly COVID has caused a lot of consternation and crankiness, I think, in a lot of people. But to your point, RX and prescription drug plan seems to be the forefront concern of our clients, especially for me. I mean, it seems like that is the number one question that we get is about their prescription drugs. And Kathy in our office, she specializes and deals with people who need prescription drug plans, and she's very good at it. So it's really important to get that right, because the formulary does change. And to Dwayne's point, you need to really review it every year, because plans do change. In 2021, I'm excited about the new plans, Tom, that are coming out for 2021, and a lot of new changes and opportunities for consumers to take a second look at the plan.
Absolutely. It's always valuable for someone to do an annual review for their prescription drugs. Of course, if they have a Medicare supplement and they're happy and satisfied, that does not need to change. But it's amazing how many people, I know Kathy as well as myself and you, we've looked at people's drugs. We see what the plans are for next year. Sometimes the drug's going to go to a higher tier. It's going to cost them more money on their current plan. But if they were able to go to another plan, maybe with even a lower premium, I can't tell you how many people I could say honestly that we've saved them $500, $600, $700, even over $1,000 a year when they were just, I'm happy with my drug plan.
That's right.
I said, just allow us to do a annual review. And they were amazed, and they're very thankful for us, because extra money in their pocket brings better quality of life.
That's right. And also, Dwayne, about the point about telehealth. I mean, I know personally I've used it. Very handy to use. I know Kathy has used it prior to her having to go to New York, Mount Sinai for her surgery. She had multiple telehealth appointments with the surgeon and so forth. So that very, very important to have that. And all these benefits are going to be available, and even more benefits we haven't even discussed here today are going to be available for you in 2021. So make sure, as Dwayne so eloquently put it, make sure you seek out a good insurance advisor to get solid advice. I happen to know two that are here in this room right now from Owen Insurance Group. And if you do have questions about Medicare, or health insurance, or any prescription drug plans, feel free to call our office. We'll be happy to give you unbiased information. The number to call is 772-210-1020. Dwayne, I want to thank you for taking time this morning to be with us. We really appreciate you. I know you're a busy guy, so you got a lot of work ahead of you to get back to work, and we'll see you soon, Dwayne. Appreciate you.
Gary, there's one more thing I could mention, if that's okay.
Yes.
When we go to the store, we're frequently purchasing items, and you're making a decision based on quality. You're making a decision on cost. You can touch it, you can hold it, you can feel it. When it comes to a prescription drug plan, those things start to change because you need your agent to give you good advice. But, if you look at something that looks like a really low premium, that low premium may or may not cover your drug. It may or may not include your pharmacy with the best copays. So use your insurance agent, ask them to run quotes, confirm that your drugs are covered, confirm that you can go to the pharmacy of your choice. And when they run the quotes, they determine what the out-of-pocket cost would be. Ultimately, it's the out-of-pocket cost, not the monthly premium, that will be the best choice for you.
100%. Spot on. All right. Thank you, Dwayne. Appreciate you very much, and get back to work. I know we probably have about 50 things to do on your list right now. So thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you.
My pleasure.
All right. Stay safe. All right. So hopefully you've garnered some great information from our guest presenter this morning, because it is really important. I always say this, Tom, that the decisions you make today can last a lifetime. It's important that you get it right the first time.
That's correct, because I can't tell you how many clients I've had who maybe wanted to go the cheaper route, or they just wanted to say, put me in anything, or they sign up online and really not knowing what they got into, what the limitations are. And then something happens, a procedure comes up and it's not covered. Their doctor's not in network, so many things. So get it right the first time. Have a licensed agent, one who's got experience, who has integrity, who deals with you in a fiduciary manner, meaning they're going to find the best plan for you. Get it right the first time. It's much easier to make small corrections than to try to turn the big, huge tanker around if you make the wrong decision in the beginning. So get it right the first time.
Yeah, and the AEP, how close are we? I mean, there's some big decisions to be made here in a couple months.
I don't know the exact days, but we're counting them down. October 15th through December 7th is the annual election enrollment period for Medicare. Agents are allowed to talk about 2020 plans beginning October 1st, but new enrollments cannot take place for
2021 plans.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Boy,
you're back in the past. You're staying in the
I
past.
want to get rid of. I'm ready to get out of 2020, but 2021 plans. A lot of great new plans, new products for 2021 coming up.
And we're going to go to a break here in just a second. And we'll once we come back from the break, we'll go to our second segment. And Tom's going to review some folks, what they love best about Martin County, the Treasure Coast, and we'll talk about some tidbits of information that you probably didn't know. You're listening to WSTU 1450 AM and WPSL 1590 AM, the Quality of Life radio show. We'll be back in just Quality of Life radio show. We almost, actually, Tom, I think what we spoke about this morning on the way here to the studio, maybe we should change the name to, because I love the Tom and Jerry cartoon show, and to call it the Tom and Gary show. But nonetheless, it could be the Tom and Gary show, the Quality of Life radio show, sponsored by Cigna Medicare. So we are now at the second segment of our show. We're talking about interesting facts and figures that you probably didn't know, and what you love about living on the Treasure Coast. So Tom has got a couple of comments that he solicited on Facebook. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say about the Treasure Coast.
Absolutely. For those of us that are privileged to live on the Treasure Coast full time, or if you're a snowbird coming down half the year, there's, I'm sure, a myriad of things that you love about the Treasure Coast. The quality of the air. That's one thing. That's a kind of a fact that I learned when I first moved here 18 years ago, is this area has some of the best air quality in the entire country. So for those with maybe asthmatic issues or breathing issues or allergies, this is a great place to live. But I did do a survey last night on my Facebook page, and it was interesting, all the different comments I got. And Debbie said she loves the beautiful beaches, fun local events, live bands, and great people. And that's really true. The beaches are unbelievable. Raquel, a good friend of mine I used to work with, she mentioned about the beaches. She said this. She said, she gave me a lot of great things. She said, we can compare the beaches here to any Caribbean island for the turquoise waters. Take a picture at Pepper Park or in St. Lucie Inlet or the Fort Pierce Inlet, and your friends will accuse you of using Photoshop. Several of our beaches have shipwrecks that can be reached by swimming just a few hundred yards offshore. Most beaches have convenient parking, and I can get a spot on holiday weekends pretty easily. I'll tell you what, Debbie, she tells me, you know, the horror stories of different weekends, holiday weekends in Ocean City, Maryland, or different places up north, where, of course, the population is, 10 times the amount of people. But just to find, sometimes you could literally be on the beach by yourself. I know many times I've been on the beach for hours without seeing anybody. Usually it's after a thunderstorm or, scares people away. But the beaches are phenomenal. And I want to point out one other thing, the live music. If you like music, I know this is not Nashville, it's not New Orleans where I'm from.
Wait a minute, I thought that was Nolans.
Nolans, well, you know, the New Orleanians, they say it so many different ways. Nola, Nolans, New Orleans. I mean, it's amazing how many ways you can say New Orleans, but the music. But I tell you what, we have very talented musical pools. There's a lot of retired musicians, old hippies come here to retire. I mean, and a lot of them have those musical skills. They played with many great bands, and they have their own local bands. So the local music scene is very good. We do get in great live shows in the Sunrise Theater up in Fort Pierce, the Lyric Theater here in beautiful downtown Stuart, and the Kravitz Center not far away. So we get a lot of musicians. So the live music scene, sitting out at a tiki hut on the beach or at a little local restaurant or bar, it's phenomenal. And you know, Sunday afternoon here in downtown Stuart, rock and roll in this downtown Stuart, 1 to 4 has free music. So I'm going to be capturing, you know, more things that people like about the Treasure Coast. But one person said, "I love the people. They're hardworking, they're unpretentious, and they're fun and to get along with." So we've got a mixture of the Midwest, the South, the Northeast, and just it's a melting pot of a lot of people, and we come together and we get along. I mean, thankfully our communities are really sticking together during this pandemic and all the other social issues going on. But I tell you, the people here on the Treasure Coast, we're family, and people feel that.
And Julie, we left the office this morning, so we asked Julie what she loved about the Treasure Coast. And what did Julie say to you?
I love wearing my face mask.
And social distancing. I think she's saying that she doesn't like people. I'm not really sure what she's trying to say.
I'm not sure, Julie. I didn't receive the text on what you love.
If you want to know what Julie's thinking, call her at the office right now, 772-210-1020, and I'm sure she'll be happy to set you straight.
Oh, my goodness.
And what do I like best about Florida, man? The Treasure Coast. What I love are the sunrises. I don't get up early enough sometimes to see the sunrises. What I really enjoy are sunsets on the west coast of Florida, and I love the Keys. Florida is so diverse. I'm going to get back to what I like about the Treasure Coast in a second, but Florida is so diverse. I mean, from the northeast area of Florida, the Panhandle is say that 3 times. Topography is quite different, right? Versus the Treasure Coast, the Tampa area, Southwest Florida, and the Keys. It is a diverse, beautiful state, and I'm so happy to be here.
Absolutely.
And then also, I really, when I first moved to Florida 34 years ago from Western Pennsylvania, go Steelers, I really hated it, Tom. I hated my first year in Florida. I hated the heat, the intense heat. I hated the lizards. I hated the bugs. I hated the love bugs. And now I've got the sand in my flip-flops, so to speak. So you can't get me out of this place. No way.
I thought the song goes "Sand in my in the sand."
Well, your bikini, right?
Yeah,
you got sand in your bikini.
The thong. yeah. I wear a thong.
Yeah, I know. Listen, hey, you can wear what you want. I don't judge.
This is a judgment-free zone. Thank you, Gary. I feel very safe. And Lisa, she's going to be one of our guests in 2 weeks. A great financial coach here in the Treasure Coast.
She's going to be great to have.
Yep, she's the reason she loved it. She said the beach, the river, the little downtown area of Stewart and Jensen Beach, and I got to plug in Fort Pierce downtown, beautiful. Also, even the bad traffic here is good traffic compared to Atlanta. So I'll tell you what, she's from the Atlanta area, and if you've ever had to drive through or to Atlanta and go into the city, it's horrendous. Just the number of cars you see will equal the number of cars you see in a whole year.
Yes.
Here on the Treasure Coast. So
living is good on the Treasure Coast. I mean, absolutely beautiful. There was someone else that made a comment. I think Kathy made a comment what she loved about the Treasure Coast.
I'm interested to last,
see what. Okay, save that for last, because I think you got to save the best for last.
Okay, this is the best for last. So Kathy P said, in response to my question, what do you love about living on the Treasure Coast? She said, my boyfriend, Gary Owen. I'm like, that is so mushy and cute.
What a great guy that is. He's a super
He
dude.
is one blessed man to have a woman like that.
We are blessed, no question about it.
Thank you.
We're gonna move. I want to share some tidbits of information before we take our third break and move into the third segment of our show. But some good news about COVID. Yesterday, Monday, marked the 15th straight day that the state reported fewer than 10,000 new cases, Tom, and the second time this
Yes.
month it dropped below 5,000. So I'm excited to see that number going down. The first cases we got was back in March, early part of March. We had 144 cases. July 16 spiked to almost 12,000 cases. And then yesterday down to 6,440 cases.
So I guess, Julie, wearing the mask and social distancing is working. And I was proud to say that my daughter got on the bus this morning.
Yeah, first day of school.
First day of school. Martin County is back in school. So she'll be a senior at Martin County High School.
And Kathy and I spent 3 weeks in New York. We had to obviously have a mandatory quarantine prior to her surgery at Mount Sinai. And everybody in New York, everybody everywhere was wearing a mask. And you could see the incidences of COVID up there, which is virtually zero. So there's a lot to be said about it. Whether you're a pro-mask or anti-mask, it doesn't matter. The facts are there. So it's important that we stay safe and healthy, and we're going to get through this. So we're gonna take another break, and we're going to come back, and then you're listening to WSTU 1450 AM and WPSL 1590 AM from the Palm Bays to the Palm Beaches. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be right back. The Quality of Life Radio Show. This is Gary Owen.
And I'm Tom Bouvier, co-host.
And we want to talk to you about a small business that just opened up in Fort Pierce, Tom. So I'm sure you have the opportunity to grab some grub there and maybe bring it back to our office so we can enjoy it. But a shout out to New News Sweet Soul Food Truck. They opened up a new restaurant at 3210 Orange Avenue in Fort Pierce, which is next to Dixie Cream Donuts.
Oh,
my
Dixie
God.
Cream.
What a great thing to have for desserts after
Ooh.
that, right? And they're open every day except Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. So if you're in the mood for some soul food, go up there and support Patricia Hearns, who's the owner of that restaurant. Again, it's important that we support local businesses and keep business on the Treasure Coast and do business with the Treasure Coast and the Treasure Coast members. So next thing I want to talk about is I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Perseid meteor shower. It peaks in mid-August, and they are known for having long wakes of light and color behind them as they streak through the night sky, through the atmosphere.
Very cool.
There's typically 50 to 100 an hour. They're supposed to peak from 10 p.m. to pre-dawn. Tom, my rosy cheeks are in bed about 10 p.m., so I don't usually have an opportunity to do this. But last night, we were up till about midnight chit-chatting, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm never up this late. So let's go outside and see how many meteor showers that we can see.
And did you see any?
Zero.
We
were out there for a minimum 5 minutes. I have no patience.
Was it mosquitoes?
There were mosquitoes. Okay. We saw
Okay.
mosquitoes, but we didn't see any meteor showers. So hopefully, maybe it's more like towards the pre-dawn hours and not 10 p.m.
And it's going on now.
It's going on now. So they say tomorrow night, or the pre-dawn hours is when it will really peak. So it'd be interesting to see that. They say 2 a.m. I'd have to set the alarm for that nonsense.
So I'll give you a call about 2 a.m.
Text me, Tom.
I'll text you.
Just text me. Then let's see. I want to talk about commercials. It's amazing the amount of money people earn from commercials. So we all remember the Verizon commercials. Can you hear me now? That guy, Paul Marcelli. Can you hear me now? He made $9 million on those commercials. Bless his little heart.
I just don't know how he could remember his lines. I mean,
it's impossible for me. It might be a hard thing to do. And we all know Mr. Mayhem, right? Dean Winters, aka Mr. Mayhem from Allstate. Those commercials.
Oh, I like him.
He makes roughly $5,000 a commercial. Flo from Progressive Insurance.
Oh, she's a billionaire.
Little Flo, she made so far $8 million. Little Mikey, remember the commercial back in the day?
Hey,
Little Mikey, yeah, Mikey likes everything. From Life Cereal, $10 million.
And I wonder if that's today's dollars or those dollars. Probably today.
Yeah, probably today's.
Otherwise, it'd have been $100 million.
Yeah. Laura can imagine that. And then the last thing I want to mention is about. Did you ever see the show Gilligan's Island?
Every day.
Yep. So the final episode of Gilligan's Island aired in April 1967, a month before I was born. But I got to enjoy the reruns of Gilligan's Island. But some tidbits of information. I kind of like this one. Natalie Schaefer, who played Mrs. Howe. You remember Mrs. Howe and Mr. Howe? She had a special diet. And it was eating 1 quart of ice cream a day and swimming. That was it. And she would lose 3 pounds a week to 5 pounds a week by eating just a quart of ice cream a day. Ice cream diet.
Wow. That could be
interesting. And then the skipper, he also played a farmer.
He ate 6 gallons of ice cream.
Do you mean per show, right?
Per show, yeah.
He also played a farmer on the Andy Griffith Show.
Rest your soul.
And then I thought that was pretty funny, Tom. Thank you for making me laugh. And then also the last thing is that this is funny. Some confused viewers called the United States Coast Guard to have the castaways rescued. One person said, for several weeks now, we've seen American citizens stranded on some Pacific island. We spend millions of dollars on foreign aid. Why can't we send one U.S. destroyer to rescue those poor people? So anyway,
they would have to go to Hollywood Studio or something.
So anyway,
Studio B.
Yeah, that was fine. I chuckled on that one. So we have probably, my God, time is flying by here. We've got less than 15 minutes. We'll take this last part of the third segment of the show and kind of stress the importance of having quality of life. I really and firmly believe that every single one of us needs to implement a strategy so we can have the right quality of life. And we need to be collaborating with the right people to help you to have that quality of life. And here at Owen Insurance Group, I mean, that's our mantra, right? We believe that we do all, as Tom said earlier, having a fiduciary duty to always doing what's right for our clients. And again, about being honest, transparent. Unfortunately, just like any other industry, there are bad actors in this business, and there are agents who will do things and say things and maybe not disclose things, Tom, that they should disclose to inform the client. So, and it kind of separates us from anybody else because we are an independent brokerage agency. And why is it important that a consumer out there listening to our show would want to work with an independent agent?
Well, I can think the most obvious, and maybe it's actually not that obvious to a lot of people, is that as an independent broker, we can represent and be licensed and contracted with all the different carriers. So when we sit down and do a thorough needs dialogue. That means listening more than we talk, asking questions to solicit what the individuals need, want, desire, what's their budget, what's their goals, that we're able to pull from a whole source of different carriers and present that, and maybe present 2 or 3 different ones, but narrow it down through process of elimination and questioning to here's the perfect fit, and it's with a carrier. Now, if we were not independent, that would mean that we're what's called captive. We're a captive licensed agent, and there's a lot of great captive agents out there representing great companies, but honestly, they only have one product to be able to present.
One arrow in their quiver.
One arrow in their quiver. Great way to say it, Gary. I appreciate that. And again, not to say that they're doing a bad job or they're not ethical, but they only have one thing to show. And if it doesn't fit into the needs, wants, desires, and budget, many times they will still try to force it because that's all they have. That's the only arrow they have. That's the only product they have. That's the only commission they're going to get. And going with an independent brokerage where you can have all the different carriers at your disposal and see everything, from have an agent who's very knowledgeable about all those carriers is also important as well.
Yeah, because there's not a one size fits all in Medicare, and we're approaching the Medicare season, and so we're going to start seeing a lot of commercials and infomercials, just like you're going to see a lot of crazy political ads and commercials, which drives us all crazy and nuts. And you're going to see the same thing on Medicare, and you'll see one specific company. So remember, there's not a one size fits all, because you look at maybe a Medicare Advantage commercial with 0 premium, you've got to know everything about that plan, know all the benefits, know all your options, and
the limitations.
And absolutely, most importantly, the limitations, because yes, it may be 0 premium. They may offer this, they may offer that, but they may not cover your formulary that Dwayne Mcferrin mentioned earlier in the show about the prescription drugs.
Or your doctor's not in the network.
So you got to work with a comprehensive Medicare agent who will sit down and have an holistic approach and make sure they do the best by you and for you. That's the most important thing that you have to remember. I don't care whether it's Medicare planning, if it's life insurance planning, if it's health insurance planning. My God, man, I'm looking on Facebook, and it's amazing the flurry of Facebook commercials and advertisements that are out there on Facebook for $9 health insurance premiums. Listen, if you're foolish enough to click on learn more and enroll in some of those plans, God help you when you need to use it, because it won't be there for you. So, Tom, how important is it? My gosh.
Or I'm reminded, or the $5 a month, $500,000 life insurance policy. I said, yeah, that means that'll cover you if you're underwater basket weaving and you run out of air, and then they'll cover you.
Oh, and a 1 year coverage, 1 year coverage. And then next year it goes up 30%.
Yeah. So it is very important to get with an agent or a person who will really do that needs dialogue. And I like to call it that, because I even have people who maybe family, friends, they trust me already. However, they just said, put me in the best plan. I trust you, put me in the best plan. I don't even take that for an answer. I am still going to ask you questions, because if I put you in, you force me to put you in the best plan, I don't know what the best plan is.
That's right.
Because as Gary said, it's not a one shoe fits all. It's like going into the shoe store. Give me the best shoe. What size do you wear? Don't worry about it. Just give me the best shoe. No, you have to answer questions about your medications, upcoming procedures, a variety of good questions.
Yeah, like what's your out-of-pocket maximum? What are your co-pays to go see a primary care doctor? What's your co-pays when you go see a specialist? What's your co-pay for an outpatient procedure? There's a lot of questions you need to be asking.
And do you know the difference between an HMO and a PPO? And, does your primary care doctor need to give you a referral to see a specialist? So by asking those kind of questions as licensed agents who use that holistic approach, we really solicit from the person their needs, wants, desires, and their budget, and we find the best plan that fits it. Some of it, it's a perfectly down the line. Others, it's just the best fit.
Tom, it all sounds complicated and convoluted and confusing, and it's causing a lot of people much consternation. So what is your recommendation? What should they do? Those listeners who are listening in, what would be your recommendation for them?
For any type of insurance need, give us a call here at Owen Insurance Group. We'll be able to help you ourselves, Gary, myself, other agents in our office. We're here to help.
And do you remember the phone number?
772-210-1020.
That's 772-210-1020 for those of you that are listening in. And if you are outside of our service area and you're in another part of the state of Florida or you're in another state, we also have a toll-free number. Tom, do you remember the toll-free number?
772. So that would mean no. Sorry.
833-693-6427, I think. But I don't know that number either. So I guess I have to be better prepared next time with our toll-free number. But Kathy's listening in. So I know, Kathy, if you can just text me the number for our toll-free number. I know it's 833. I believe it's 693.
And they may be able to go onto oweninsurancegroup.net.
Well, they should do
have
that. They should do that. I should have mentioned
a lot of
that.
great resources.
I was remiss when I didn't mention oweninsurancegroup.net. So it's not oweninsurancegroup.com. It's www.oweninsurancegroup.net. And there's a lot of great information in there about Medicare, other health insurance products. We also have dental insurance plans, disability insurance plans,
long-term care,
annuities. I mean, we
Life
cover the whole
insurance,
gamut. Life insurance planning. I'm also a graduate of the American College with a Life Underwriting Training Council Fellow designation. So it's really important that you work with somebody who is competent, who you like and who you trust. I've been on the Treasure Coast now for 34 years. I know I look 34, but 34 years I've been on the Treasure Coast, 19 years in Western Pennsylvania. So kind of do the math and you kind of figure out where I'm at today. I'm still a little bit behind you though, Tom.
Yes, that's right.
Just a hair length or two behind you.
That's right. I'm still a baby boomer. I'm a baby boomer toward the end of it, but I'm happily called baby boomer. Yeah.
So one of the things that I think is important about Medicare, especially coming to the AEP, open enrollment. So most consumers don't understand that there is AEP, there's OEP, there's ICEP, there's GEP. My God, OMG, there are so many letters.
How many more EPs are we going to get here?
So we know what we're doing at Owen Insurance Group. And I think that you certainly need to work with a company that knows what they're doing. And yes, I was right. 833-693-6467. That is our toll-free number in case you want to call in on our toll-free line. But really super important that you find out the number one question, Tom, I think that you should ask a agent if you're maybe aging into Medicare or the open enrollment's coming. It's called the annual election period from October 15th through December 7th. The number one question you should ask, the first question you should ask the agent is, are you an independent agent or do you only represent one carrier?
That's correct.
So if you're not asking that question, you're doing yourself a major disservice. So that should be the very, very first question you should ask. Because Tom just mentioned earlier the importance of working with a professional, independent insurance agent.
And another secondary question to that would be, how long have you been a licensed agent, and how many carriers are you appointed with? Because knowledge is power, but knowledge is power if you utilize it in the correct way. So you also have to have that person that you trust, as Gary said, someone that you like and trust, and you feel that they have your best interest in mind when they're presenting the information. Ask questions. Don't let any nagging questions to go unasked. And people say, I hope you're not offended if I ask. I said, listen, there's not a question you could ask that'll rattle me, shake me, or offend me. Because number one, I've probably heard it multiple times and answered it many times. But also, if I don't know it, I'm going to let you know that's a great question. I'm going to research that for you. And I'm not just going to try to blow some fake answer out. I'm going to research it and get back with them and make sure they know that I'm giving them the correct information.
And folks, as we get closer to the annual election period, we're as you affectionately know as the open enrollment period. We'll certainly provide you more detailed information. We'll always share more information on the third segment of our show about Medicare and also health insurance. I mean, again, it really perplexes me. I see ads on Facebook. People are using the state of Florida seal as part of their advertisement. It is against the law to do that. You have to have approval in writing by the state of Florida, and I can guarantee you they are not going to give you approval if you see an ad with the official state of Florida seal for insurance. You might want to move on to the next one because it is not appropriate and not legal. And again, there are agents out there who are trying to do what they can to take advantage of the situation with COVID-19 that's happening. And listen, it's important that you get your health care correct. Medicare is important as well, yes. And equally important is your health insurance, individual health insurance, because many people are losing their jobs due to COVID-19. And that provides you a guaranteed issue, a special enrollment to get into an ACA plan. And so there are multiple plans out there, whether it's ACA, individual, group plans, individual plans, short-term medical plans, but it's important, as Tom mentioned earlier, having a holistic approach, asking open-ended questions. So make sure that we take care of you correctly, because if you go into a plan, you go to a hospital and they're not going to cover it because they don't take that plan that you purchased for $9 a month. Well, guess what? You're not going to be very happy with that agent. So, and nor should you be happy with yourself. But anyway, it's important that you have the right information, work with the right agent. That right agency here on the Treasure Coast is known as Owen Insurance Group. And we're located in downtown Stuart, Florida, 38 Southeast Ocean Boulevard. Our phone number is 772-210-1020. We really appreciate you for joining us. You've been listening in to WSTU 1450 AM, WPSL 1590 AM. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and if you have, please share this information with your friends, your family, and your neighbors. And Treasure Coast, stay safe, keep healthy, and